Hello students of class 12. Today's very important topic is about the microbes in human welfare. This chapter is a bit important for you. You have to remember a lot of terminologies here in this chapter. Let me discuss this chapter in very brief about the important points, how to remember this chapter in a nutshell. So let's start. You have to remember this chapter in only 6 ways. That is how these microbes are useful in human welfare. That is, first, from the house you started. Microbe in household products. Next is microbe in the industrial purposes, under which you will get various types of uses of microbe, where 5 types of uses you can study here. Third is the microbes in sewage treatment. Fourth is microbes in the production of biogas. Fifth is microbes as biocontrol agent. And sixth is microbes as biofertilizer, which is the final one, under which we will study about the symbiotic bacteria and the free living bacteria, which are used for the formation of biofertilizer or making of biofertilizer. So let's start with the uses of microbe from the household. In this part of the microbes in household product, you have to remember mainly 4 things. One is curd production, second is dough, third is toddy, and fourth is cheese. So curd, you know, this is the lab bacteria that you have to remember, the lactobacillus bacteria that is used for making curd. Here you have to remember one very important thing, that is how this lab bacteria is useful. That is, it coagulates the milk protein and enhances the vitamin B12 in the curd. That is the conversion of the milk into curd. That is one. And second importance is that it checks the various type of microbes that causes disease in the stomach. These are the two important uses of lactobacillus. Second, you have to remember here is about the dough. That is mainly here, the yeast, that is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, is used for making bread, and even we use it in fermentation process in maida and wheat flour. And why we use it? Because it undergo anaerobic respiration, from which the carbon dioxide is released, and the fermentation process gives the fluffy appearance of the dough and makes the food item very soft and easy for digestion. Third is the toddy making, that is the traditional drink used in southern India, and it is also extracted from the sap of the palm tree by bacteria. And fourth, you have to remember the cheese production. Here you need to remember about the 2 type of microorganism. One is the bacterium, that is the Propionibacterium cerimoni, which is responsible for the production of the Swiss cheese. And one more very important topic you have to remember here, that is this type of cheese has large holes due to the production of large amount of carbon dioxide by this type of bacterium. And second is the Roquefort cheese, that is formed by the particular type of fungus known as Penicillium roqueforti. These things you have to remember from the microbes in household products. Come the microbes in industrial product. Here you have to remember about the mainly 5 things. That first is the fermented beverages. You have to remember about the various type of bacteria and the fungus, that is the yeast, which is used for the production of ethanol, for production of both the distilled and non-distilled type of beverage drinks. Then the production of antibiotics. Here you have to remember about the penicillin, one of the very important first antibiotic to be discovered by Alexander Fleming. You have to also remember about here how this penicillin was discovered, which is very small note that you have to remember. And the function of penicillin, that is it acts as an antibiotic, and this was established by Ernest Chain and Howard Florey. And here you have to remember one thing, that which diseases are mainly cured by the antibiotics, like plague, whooping cough, diphtheria and leprosy. And the third type of uses of microbes in industrial purpose is the production of organic acid and ethanol. Here you have to remember about citric acid, acetic acid, butyric acid and lactic acid. One very important technique that you have to remember is all the acids are produced from bacteria, only the citric acid, except the citric acid which is produced from the Aspergillus niger, that is the fungus. So you need to remember the table, that is the 4 organisms, their name, specific type of microorganism and the organic acids. And then come the enzymes. Here you have to remember three enzymes: lipase, pectinase and protease, and streptokinase, and their uses. So lipase is used for detergent formulation and used to remove the stains in the laundry. Pectinase and protease is used for clarifying the bottle juice. And finally streptokinase is used as clot buster for removing the clot from the blood vessel of the patient who have undergone the surgery of myocardial infarction. And finally bioactive molecule cyclosporine A and statin. These things you have to remember. So this is about the industrial product. And finally fourth one is about the sewage treatment. Sewage is a municipal waste that contain large amount of human excreta, and that sewage need to be treated. Now this large amount of organic matter and pathogenic microbes containing in the sewage should not be discharged directly in the water bodies. So it should be first treated in the sewage treatment plant or STP. Now here you have to remember about Ganga Action Plan and Yamuna Action Plan that has been initiated by the Ministry of Environment and Forests, under which large number of STPs or sewage treatment plants will be built to treat sewage before they discharge in the rivers in order to reduce the pollution. So here you have to remember the two ways or two stages of sewage treatment. The first treatment is the primary treatment or the physical treatment, and the second treatment is the biological treatment, where the various type of aerobic and anaerobic microbes are utilized in the various stages of the sewage treatment. And here you have to remember one terminology, that is BOD, biological oxygen demand. I hope you know when the BOD is higher, it indicates the higher polluting potential. And the BOD measures the amount of organic matter in the water by measuring the rate of oxygen uptake by the microbes. The next topic is about the microbe in the production of biogas. Biogas is a mixture of various type of inflammable gases like methane, sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. So you need to remember the name of these gases, which are produced by the microbial activity that can be used as fuel. Now the methanogen bacteria, mainly the methanobacterium, anaerobically break down the cellulosic material and produce the carbon dioxide and hydrogen. Now in this biogas plant, the anaerobic sludge is treated, mainly the rumen part of the stomach of the cattle. You know very well that the compound stomach are present in the cattle that contain the 4 chambers, where rumen is the largest one. Now this rumen, it provides the nutrition to the cattle, and this rumen, the gut of the cattle also contain this methanogen bacteria. Now here you have to remember two terminologies, that is two abbreviations. One is IARI, that is Indian Agricultural Research Institute, and another is KVIC, that is Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So this, under the developed technology of these two institutions, the biogas plant is set up in India. And here you have to remember the mechanism of biogas or the production of gobar gas, where the typical biogas plant is there, where the diagram is very important for you, that you have to remember. So you see there is the dimension of this tank is important to remember. That is 10 to 15 feet deep tank should be there, where the biogas or bio waste is converted into slurry and the dung is collected. The tank has a floating cover that rises on production of the gas in the tank, and the main bacterium, that is the methanobacterium in the dung, act as a bio waste to produce biogas. Now this biogas is supplied to the nearby houses by an outlet, and through another outlet the spent slurry is removed to be used as fertilizer, or you can say biofertilizer. Now biogas is used for lighting as well as cooking. So these things you have to remember in this heading. And finally the biological agent, that is microbes in biological agent and biofertilizer. These two things. Now biocontrol agents means the biocontrol is defined as the controlling plant diseases and pests using biological method without using of chemical fertilizer, pesticides and insecticides. Now you know very well the disadvantages of chemical agents. Chemical agents are toxic and harmful to human beings as well as animals, and they pollute the environment, and the weedicide that we use are generally not environmental friendly. So organic farming is very important, and organic farmers, they use a holistic approach to keep the pest and manage the pest and insects by a complex system of the checks of balance within the ecosystem instead of their complete eradication. So there are the two main, you can say, the biological farming approaches. They are the familiarity with various life forms inhabiting the field and gaining knowledge about the life cycle, pattern of feeding and habitat of predator and the pest. Now some of the examples are very important for biocontrol. Here if you remember about the ladybird and dragonfly, they are very much used to get rid of aphids and mosquitoes. Second point that you have to remember is the bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis or BT that are used to control butterfly caterpillars. And you very well you have studied already that the BT spores, they are dried and mixed with the water and sprayed on the plant, such as like brassicas like sarso and fruit trees. So the insect larvae, after eating this, are killed by the toxin released in their gut. So Bacillus thuringiensis, these toxin genes that have been introduced in the plant to provide resistance to pests like BT cotton. Next is Trichoderma species, that is the free living fungi are present in the root ecosystem, where they act against various type of several plant pathogens. And finally the baculovirus, they are the pathogens that attack insects and other arthropods, and they are species specific, So this biocontrol agent, most of the viruses that belong to the genus nucleopolyhedrovirus, that you have to remember. Now these species of virus, they are nanospectrum insecticides. They do not harm animal, mammal and birds, fish or other non-target insects. And baculovirus are helpful in the integrated pest management IPM program, in which beneficial insects are conserved. Finally, microbes as biofertilizer. Here you have to remember about the bacteria as biofertilizer, which includes two names, that is the rhizobium, one symbiotic bacterium, and another two bacteria that you have to remember, that is the azospirillum and azotobacter. They are free living bacteria that absorb the free nitrogen from the soil and convert into the salts of nitrogen like amino acids and enrich the soil with nutrients. Next come the fungus as biofertilizer, where you have to remember about some fungus form that associate symbiotically with the roots of higher plant and form mycorrhizae, that and here you can give one example of glomus, the fungal hyphae which absorbs the phosphorus from the soil and pass it to the plant. Mycorrhizae have various other benefits that you have already studied in class 11, that is resistant to the root-borne pathogen, tolerance to salinity and drought, and overall increase in plant growth and development. And finally the cyanobacterium as biofertilizer. Here you have to learn about some of the photosynthetic bacteria, that is the nostoc, anabena and oscillatoria, the blue-green algae that increase the soil fertility by adding the organic matter in the soil. So this was all about the chapter, that is microbes in human welfare in a nutshell, where I have discussed the whole chapter in a very summative way, where you have to remember some key words or key points that I have discussed here in this chapter. Hope you have understood the topic very well, and thanks for watching.